What's up, everyone? Welcome to my broadcast. Tonight, I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. I've been doing a lot more comments and stuff like that on crypto and DeFi and sort of how to win in the game and what the game really looks like and all of that. And I'm seeing a lot of posts recently and lately with a lot of like newer people in the market posting like these ridiculously high APYs and these gains and stuff like that, which is cool. But the problem is, I think it creates and sets up a misnomer. And so, the number one reason that people become successful long term in this game is their ability to preserve capital and earn or create capital long term. And this isn't financial advice or anything, but this is just what I do and what I like to do along the way. I stopped talking about this a little bit last year just because I felt like this whole game was heading towards like shit coins and meme coins, and I didn't want to be part of that. But I think we've evolved past that as humans. And so I'm happy to come on and talk about what I do a little bit more. And so the idea behind winning is recognizing that we have one goal, and that's preserving capital. And so if you go in and you ape into things or you jump into random things because there's a high APY or you're chasing something someone posted about that you want to get on top of, that's not being logical in investments, and that's not being logical in getting into the game. That's being emotional. And so the biggest reason that you could or couldn't be successful is really your ability to think. And this is the biggest problem that I see in the game. People don't understand or recognize how to think. And the way we have to think about the game is we have to be objective, we have to be rational, and we have to understand and recognize what we can do to consistently preserve capital. And we have to say, okay, well, if I'm going to get into the market and I'm going to panic and jump out, well, I'm going to lose capital. And guess what? At that point, it's going to take me longer to regain that opportunity to earn more capital because now I'm in a negative. And so I have to recognize that I have to decide at the same time what kind of investor I'm going to be. How am I going to do this? Am I going to try to do this short term, long term? Do I want to play the DeFi game? Are we in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? Am I just someone who's going to DCA in for the rest of my life? We have to decide and understand what our trajectory and pathway is and what our goals are long term so we can then facilitate the right pathway for us to make smart decisions. And so when I look at the DeFi game specifically, I have a process that I call looping leverage. And if you want to know more about this process, just click down below because I put up my YouTube channel and there's a list on there called cryptocurrency and there's a list on there called DeFi. So go watch those videos because I talk about this more a little bit deeper. But the concept behind looping leverage is creating a platform in DeFi to where you can generate yield and generate return using a minimally aggressive strategy. And then you take what you earn and you move that into more aggressive strategies. And those more aggressive strategies now allow you to earn more without being aggressive in the game because you started off with your original place in a minimally aggressive strategy. And so what this does is it allows you to loop and create leverage. And what that really does is it allows us to go from point A to point B to point C, which loops back to point A. And ultimately that puts us in a position to where we can not only create capital using a strategy that's not super aggressive or risky, but it allows us to move into more risky strategies as we play with house money and as we learn how to play the game and preserve capital long term. And like I said a minute ago, the goal is to preserve capital. Now, if I just jump into a pool and it's like 10,000% APY out right off the bat, I'm going to get wrecked. And it's my own fault because I didn't do the due diligence to take the time to remove the emotions out of the equation and rationally analyze what could happen in that situation. A lot of the times these pools and these things, the coins, they go up and down and they eventually plummet because the emissions are too high. And so if we're in a situation to where we have these tokens and these emissions that are high, you can guarantee it's going to dump. And when it dumps, you lose your investment. And when you lose your investment or your investment goes to zero, your APY is not going to make up for the loss that you gained, so you just lost capital. So the biggest thing that I think we have to learn in this game is, and if you really want to understand the mindset and the theory behind this game, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if I have a free chat group that we're all in, if you want to get in that where I really start talking about mindset, just comment signal down below and I'll send the link over to you. It's in the Signals Messenger app. But the biggest thing is we have to think. We have to learn how to think. If you think emotionally, if you look at someone who posts something on Facebook and you say, ooh, that's a 1,000,000% APY, I should jump into that. You're not thinking about this in the right way. You're not in a rational mind. You have to take a step back and say, okay, well, what are the benefits and what are the negatives? What could happen and what couldn't happen to this thing? What are the points of failure? What are the points of risk? And am I willing to take on that risk? If I lose, am I willing to take that step backward for the next step forward because now I'm at a loss and it's going to take me longer to preserve and gain capital. So the overlying premise behind this is we have to be able to think objectively and rationally to get into the market and to be smart about the market so we can play long term and win. The people who ultimately win are the ones who can preserve capital for the longest period of time and earn and gain without experiencing significant loss. Now, that doesn't mean that the volatility and the characteristically volatile market that we're experiencing right now isn't going to go up and down. But what it means is we can learn to play the market. We can learn to play the market to generate wealth long term, to put ourselves in a position to where we don't lose. And even if when the market turns down, we have the ability to hedge loss so we aren't in a position like everyone else where they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off, panicking because everything's crashing and burning. So, and the strategies that I teach, it's three strategies. Number one is find the problem. Number two is looping leverage. And number three is create your pillow. Ultimately, when you get to the level to where you've created your pillow, you can now think rationally. You can think objectively. You understand your timeline. You understand how you're going to get there, and you have your plan, and you stick with your plan. You don't fall off plan because of shiny things. You don't fall off plan because something new and fancy comes out. You stick to that plan and you preserve capital, you earn capital, and you gain over time, and you put yourself in a position and a place to where you can win long term. So ultimately, that's kind of how I focus and how I look at the market. And so if you're interested in learning more about this, subscribe to me on YouTube. I put the links down below. And then if you're interested in joining my group, just comment signal down below and I'll post the link down there for the group as well. But that's all I've got to say. If you like this and found this valuable, just give me a hashtag valuable down below. If you found this helpful, just let me know. Give me a helpful down below and let me know what your number one biggest takeaway is from this video so I can see what you're getting out of it. All right, I will talk to y'all later.